Amulet of Vigor was a mistake. And I can say that with quite a bit of confidence because if it weren't a mistake, then Spelunking would have been printed with the same templating, which it most definitely was not. When I first saw Spelunking, I really thought it was just an incredibly simple card. I get to have Shocklands come into play without paying life, I can play Triomes that come into play untapped, all sorts of wonderful good stuff. Of course, being a primarily standard player, I was not familiar with Amulet Titan decks. Now, Amulet Titan players are a particular kind of sick person. The kind of deck builder that realizes the implications of Amulet of Vigor being a triggered ability, meaning that you can have multiple amulets on the field and get several activations of your Lotus Field before just sacrificing the Lotus Field to itself and then replaying it with Ice-Till Explorer and doing it again. And if you've ever said, boy, I wish the One Ring came into play tapped because it would be better for Amulet Titan, like and subscribe, Lyndon. It's not every day you see a card completely skip standard the way that Spelunking has, but honestly, it's not altogether surprising, given the fact that really the best cards to use with Spelunking in standard are Arid Archway and I guess the MKM Surveil lands. Standard even has its other partner in crime, Aftermath Analyst, and even before rotation, there was an Analyst lands deck in standard. But the reality is, standard doesn't have enough land-based design mistakes to support Spelunking as an archetype. Now, Modern is a different story. Modern players don't have to run the fragile and cliched Llanowar Elves on turn 1. They can play Arboreal Grazer to ramp into Spelunking turn 2. And then once Spelunking is online, they have Arboreal Grazer to go mana positive whenever they play a land that taps for 2 or more mana. Because as I mentioned before, this is a Lotus Field deck that, just for good measure, plays the Ravnica bounce lands in order to bounce the Lotus Field back to hand to get additional untaps. Sometimes I do genuinely forget that these Amulet Titan decks have Primeval Titan in them, because they are much more realistically just Lotus Field decks, and I await the moment where they finally realize that Primeval Titan is holding them back and there is some other more degenerate win con that has been printed into Modern, or possibly even worse, that they have no need for a win condition at all. It feels strange to say, but I do genuinely wish Spelunking were more playable in Standard. As I said before, I'm asking explicitly for land-based design mistakes, but the mana system is absolutely the best part of Magic. It's the thing that separates it from every other card game in existence. And nothing flexes on a game that thinks it's fixed the mana system, like just printing a whole weird lands deck into Standard.